name's Patrick. I am the general manager of the Hell's Kitchen Cannabis Collective, which is very recent. We just opened our doors this past Saturday. We are a cannabis grower showcase. So that means it's a temporary program that the New York State issued and conceived to really help alleviate distress that farmers of cannabis in New York State are facing at the moment. New York State issued a good, like maybe 200 or so licenses for cannabis cultivation right at the inception of when they legalized. And then the expectation was for them to open sort of a comparative or sort of, number of stores that would allow those farmers to, get a return on their investment, because they did invest in the New York cannabis industry. They planted crops, they spent all summer sort of working their farms and then harvesting and perfecting sort of their first crop of licensed New York cannabis. The problem was New York State unfortunately has had more issues than it foresaw opening the stores. So at the moment, stance is that there's probably only, I would say, 15 to 17 between their stores in the entire state, around 3 or 4 open cannabis dispensaries in the city. So this is a huge kind of discrepancy and disparity in what we expected of the industry, and the New York State government issued a temporary permit for us to formulate a model that much more closely resembles a farmer's market. So in a cannabis grower showcase, the farms organize themselves and partner with one or more retailer in order to come together and help vend this cannabis to the public of New York State. Our model is a little bit evolved to where these farmers, many of whom are multiple hours out of the city and small husband-wife, mom and pop operations, really can't send themselves or a representative in to advocate for their brand every day. But we were fortunate enough to be approved for now until the end of the year, and we are helping advocate for these farmers on their behalf. So they get to actually, we're a collective of farmers. We have 9 farmers. We actually have 3 processors who are brands who make edibles, tinctures, vapes, concentrates, joints with hash in them, many excellent products. But we're a collective of all of these brands, plus a retailer, Legacy Dispensers. We are coming together to allow farmers and these processors to set their own prices, bring product here on consignment to the farmers market, and then have it sold for them, and then everyone gets a much more equitable split than they would at a dispensary at the end. Primarily, the challenges for the entire cannabis industry of New York right now are real estate. We are kind of owing the fact that we're able to be open to an incredibly lucky connection and fortunate sort of association with a landlord who is able and cannabis friendly enough to let us in. So we're really happy to be here. We're really fortunate to have the use of a cellar space that is attached here. So we are conceiving of multiple types of educational events like career seminars, lectures from different sort of cannabis professionals and different people who have expertise on topics like home cultivation, hash making, edible making, all sorts of, people who know the history of different cannabis, regions that have consumed for, centuries instead of, the relatively short period it's been around in the United States, which is still a long time, but it's not sort of the multi-century tradition that one would encounter in the Middle East, for example, or Southeast Asia or Africa, or a multitude of other places like that.
Yeah, but that said, America and New York in particular has just accelerated this growth in recent years. So comparatively to these countries in the Middle East, they don't have a legal market, but they have a traditional market.
Yeah.
But you guys now have a legal regulated market. We're in it right now. This is part of it. Mm-hmm. But it's not possible to consume in this space, no?
No, not at the moment, because with the Cannabis Grower Showcase guidance issued by the office, they are not allowing the consumption of cannabis on premise at a Cannabis Grower Showcase. We there are going to be cannabis consumption licenses that are issued down the line as New York kind of gets its entire industry licensed and prepared and sort of fully operational and everything. So we're keeping all options open. We'd love to, we think that our space would be really conducive to an excellent place to do things like tastings and events like drops of exciting new brands and new flower strains and everything there. So we're keeping all options open for sure. There's a lot of different states that have legalized cannabis in the United States, and every industry has done it a little bit differently. Some places have seen, much more of kind of a local supply chain element with a lot more community emphasis, and some states have seen a lot of monopolies, consolidation, corporate kind of acceleration, I would say, that really does not do justice to what the plant is. It doesn't do justice to the quality of plant that ends up on the shelves in those settings. We think that we're sort of trying to create a boutique special experience, and we're also sure that the New York State cannabis industry is not going to have enough open stores by the end of the year. So we are going to be here until they kick us out, because we're committed to helping our farmers recoup their investment, build their investment, create generational wealth, and triumph in this industry before the New York State opens up to the multi-state operators, which is a whole other group of wolves who are chomping at the bit to enter into the industry at the end of the year. So I was fortunate to live in Uruguay for a couple months. It was in 2017 in the fall, and it was obviously after they legalized. I got to experience and observe how the program operated. I thought that, as someone who is a really huge fan of craft artisanal cannabis, it was a little bit dull because the variety of product available was not really there, but it was so exciting to just see it be so socially accepted in the fabric of the communities. When I would walk through the streets, it was, downtown Montevideo was pretty much a cannabis safe haven where people would just kind of consume openly, and they would drink it with their yerba mate, which I still drink yerba mate to this day, but it was wonderful to see and inspirational for my future aspirations. So Uruguay didn't really conceive of the model to legalize as being a boon for tourism or anything. They really did it for their own citizens. So you have to be a Uruguayan citizen to access their cannabis market, but if you are a Uruguayan citizen, it's as easy as registering with the post office that you're going to be someone buying and consuming cannabis, and then going to any of the pharmacies within Montevideo or Greater Uruguay that sell cannabis, purchasing whatever quantity you were decided to purchase, to a maximum of 40 grams per month, and it's kept track of by the post office of Uruguay, and it's as simple as that. And
what kind of prices are you looking at?
It was a while ago, so it's hard to remember, but I think it's reasonably priced. I think it's like, something around, I think $7 a gram or something like that is what it converts out to, but I'm not a Uruguayan citizen, so I was unable to actually participate in the process.
But you met people and you talked. And exactly. Do you see the market here going to that kind of price point? Like, will we see cannabis becoming more like a common vegetable in the farmer's market?
I would hate for that to happen. I think that would really change the model of, that would change a lot of livelihoods of a lot of people who've grown cannabis for a long time and really perfected sort of the craft and everything. I think that it could happen. A race to the bottom is usually not a great sign in the cannabis industry. I don't think that's what happened in Uruguay. I think it's just profit margins are different, and the brands are not trying to gouge their huge portion from being a massive fun brand. It's really just sort of a sterilized government operated program there. In a super capitalist system where the price goes that low, it's a sign that the quality has also suffered, I would say.
And you guys have to cap the amount of retail margin you can add, right? It's 50% that you can add on for flower products?
Yeah, so it's 50%. So it's a situation where, the cannabis farmer brings their product in here, and then basically the retailer is getting 15% off of the top of whatever's sold.
Okay, brilliant. Well, I hope it's enough for you to survive and thrive, because I love this space. I love what you're doing, Patrick.
We're really excited. Thank you.
I'm gonna come back to New York and I'll see you again, I'm sure.
I really hope you do. I'm excited. Thank you.
Now you see, must be collaboration with every nation. Playing Graham's new guitar. What are you gonna name her? Or him? Him or her? What are you gonna name it? It or they?
Something to rhyme with Epiphone. Ephedrone.